This is the big question. How can your business better serve your family in 2026? What does that look like for you? Remember, failure was part of the objective of entering the gym this morning. Are there things in your business that are worse off for having you involved in them?
How can I use my business as a way to be there for my family more?
Those outputs can only be reined in and intentionally developed or directed by managing the inputs.
Forced us eventually to take over 2 years of our life to dig out of just to get to zero.
You don't have the things from the places you haven't gone to. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping.
The flies come for the poo, right? There's a push-pull effect with all of your marketing, and it needs to be pushing away the customers that are not a good fit and drawing in the ones that are.
Hey, welcome to all of you, Bandits and Chilies. This episode is called Save Hundreds of Hours in Your Cleaning Business in 2026 with 3 free and simple systems. Yeah, look, not the most pithy title, but hey, I promise that this episode has the goods. In fact, you might be doing some of this stuff already, but even just 1 or 2 of the systems we're going to talk about today could save you hundreds of hours next year. Now, before we jump into this episode, let me share something with you about my business. I recently did a work trip to our service area for the first time in 8 months, and I was there for only 3 days. My wife and I have been running our business remotely for over 3 years now, and during that time, she has scaled back to only working about 3 to 4 hours per month. Even then, that is on things that she just refuses to let go of. Like, I've told her that she should delegate them, but she doesn't want to because that is her connection to the goings on within the business, so she doesn't want to feel uninvolved. Fair enough, nothing wrong with that. But whilst she works 3 to 4 hours per month on the business, I am working roughly about that per week, 3 to 4 hours per week. So when I say that the systems that I'm about to share with you can save you hundreds of hours next year, I'm not kidding. Now, there is one major element at play here which will dictate how big of an impact this can have on your business specifically, and that is leverage. If you are a one-man band, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't expect to save hundreds of hours of work next year without that impacting your profits. This episode isn't about leverage, but that is a very relevant topic. So what I would say is go and check out the explainer video for the Freedom and Profit Quest. It dives into how to get more leverage in your business. And right now there are 9 free spots left for the Freedom and Profit Quest itself if you would like to get some super valuable, absolutely free coaching on how to get more time and more profit within your business. There's a link in the description for that. Okay, that said, let's jump into free and simple system number 1, report consolidation. That sounds really sexy, doesn't it? Report consolidation. It sounds like utter drudgery, right? And it reminds me of that slug-like character from Monsters, Inc. You know, Wazowski, you didn't file your paperwork last night. I'm watching. Always watching. Well, the good news is that if it sounds that way to you too, report consolidation actually means that you personally get less paperwork, right? So what are we talking about here? Documentation is hugely important in your business. Again, this is its whole own rabbit hole and we're not going to get lost in it. But just to give you an idea, let me tell you a story. We had a carpet cleaning job that was for a vacate and it had been arranged by the real estate. The job was done, the keys were returned, we were paid, and life moved on. About 4 months later, we got a call from the real estate agent claiming that we had actually not done the clean at all and therefore we should refund them the money. 4 months. How insane is that? Anyway, why did they think that we hadn't done it? Well, they had documentation. The new tenants had gone to move in and the floors were not only not clean, but they were not even clear. There was like those polystyrene beads and dust and fluff and just all sorts of stuff on the floor. And we were the last ones in the property because it had been vacated already at the time of the clean. We were going there to do that booking and then we returned the keys to the real estate. So, case closed. We just ripped them off and we couldn't get away with it. Damn. Just kidding. The employee who did the job had completed his end of job report as we do for each job every single day. He had photos and notes from the day of the service. One curious anomaly to this specific booking was a rug that was left at the property. Now that's very atypical for a vacate clean. but he noticed that it looked really dirty. And so, even though it wasn't a part of the job scope, he decided he'd just go do one more, which is one of our core values, and he cleaned it anyway because he's a freaking legend, right? So we sent the real estate a copy of our end of job report and asked them, when these new tenants moved in, was this rug there, right? And the answer was no. So therefore, we were not the last in the property. That was there when we left, wasn't there when they arrived. So this is just one example of many instances in which the documentation of the job is literally more important than doing the job itself. That documentation took 5 to 10 minutes to complete, but it was ultimately the only way that we could prove to the client that the work, which would have taken 2 to 3 hours to complete, had actually happened at all. So all of that to say, documentation is really important, especially when you have employees. So in our business, we have each employee complete an end of job report, an end of day report, as well as maintenance reports and some other miscellaneous reports for like random things. Now that's great, but guess what? I don't want to fill up my mental bandwidth with all of these reports, with all these mundane details, especially when things go well, which is most of the time, right? Most of the time, the job goes well and the details on the report don't matter. Most of the time, we don't get a call back 4 months later to some random vacate clean. Most of the time, it doesn't matter. But all of the time, we need to have the documentation there, and all of the time, the documentation needs to be checked in case there are issues, right? So our VA consolidates all of those reports every day into her end of day report, in which she provides a summary if there is anything that I need to know from those reports, anything that needs to be actioned, even just context, there was this issue, it's now been taken care of, just so that I know what's going on at a glance, right? So instead of reading dozens of reports daily, I read one, which usually says that all is quiet on the Western Front. Again, you may have a system in place for report consolidation already, right? And so you're thinking, well, this is not going to save me hundreds of hours a year because like I have something like that going on in my business. Okay, great. But I bet that if you're clever enough to have that in place, you're also clever enough to spend 5 minutes on finding ways to improve your current process. One tiny tweak made now that will be felt across every single report within your business for every single day of 2026. It is really hard for that to not save you a few hours, potentially hundreds just on its own. All right, free and simple time-saving system number 2, auto-filtering job applicants. This one is going to save you at least 10 hours even if you just hire one person this year. Now, that's if you're starting from zero, no existing system at all in place. But again, if you do have something in place, I believe in you. With 5 minutes worth of brainstorming, I am sure that you can find a way to improve your current job applicant filtering. So what do I mean by filtering job applicants? Well, as I see it, there's basically 4 ways to handle each stage of the hiring process. You can do it yourself. You can delegate it, such as to your VA. You can automate it, or you can get the applicant to do it for you. Applicant filtering involves as much of them doing the thing for you as possible, especially early on in the process, and then automations and delegations in support of that for extra credit. The quickest example of this and the best ROI on your time that you will ever get within your hiring process is to create a job application form. You can use Google Forms or Typeform or Jotform or whatever forms, but spend 15 to 30 minutes building an application form that asks a bunch of questions that you need to know the answers to. Do they have a license and a car? Who are their references? Do they have any physical or health issues that preclude them from this particular job? Asking these questions and more filters out applicants that simply aren't a viable fit for your role. So as soon as you do this, it pays you the time back because it can easily take you this long to find this kind of information about one candidate as it can to build the form. For a deeper dive on this, check out the Hiring Game Changers Challenge in the Family Oriented Business Growers School Group. It is a self-guided challenge designed to be completed within 3 days, and it gives you everything you need to build a hiring system that gets you high applicant volume, automatically filters down those applicants to the cream of the crop, and allows you to always be hiring, meaning that you won't miss the best employee that you're going to come across this year just because they were job seeking in February, but you won't even open to the conversation until April. We also did a recent workshop on this, so link in the description for that as well. Okay, last free and simple time-saving system, number 3, customer follow-up. Now this one is a massive money-making system, so that's really important to note because it will save you time as well, but it can be overshadowed. We more often think about it in the context of how much money is to be made in the follow-up, right? But focusing on the time-saving element of that right now, most people neglect their customer list. Again, you probably already have some kind of follow-up system in place. But are you telling me that within 5 minutes of extra effort right now, you couldn't think of ways to improve it that will book you tens of thousands of extra dollars worth of work next year? Frankly, I doubt it. If you're not convinced, we cover this in the Freedom and Profit Quest. Book that, link in the description. Let's find the money that you're leaving on the table. But again, where is the time saving? Well, if you put in 10 units of effort into selling your services to new customers, cold leads, compared to spending 10 units of effort into selling to your existing customers who already know, like, and trust you, and they have demonstrated their willingness to give you money in the past, which of those two is likely to get you a better result, a better ROI from the time that you put into selling those jobs? I am not saying don't go after the new customers too, but certainly not so at the expense of your existing customers. The front end is very short-lived. New customers are only new once. The back end is where all of the value is. Your customers can repeat 5, 9, or 31 times. So to get the same number of dollars booked on the calendar will take less time if you do it from your existing customers than from new customers. For a deeper dive on this, check out the Low-Hanging Fruit Challenge in our free school group, link in the description. It's called the Low-Hanging Fruit Challenge, again, because whilst it's great to go after new customers, not at the expense of your follow-up, don't climb higher up the tree, neglecting the low-hanging fruit, up on this rickety ladder, trying to get one apple from the top of the branches when you have just literally passed hundreds of apples at the lower level that were just waiting to be picked. All right, so what are your thoughts? Let me know. How are you situated in these 3 areas? Do you think that you personally can save hundreds of hours in 2026 by spending a bit more time optimizing your report consolidations, your job applicant filtering, and your customer follow-up? More importantly than that though, what are you going to do with your extra time? This is the big question. How can your business better serve your family in 2026? What does that look like for you? If you'd like to discuss that and build a plan to make that happen for free, check out the Freedom and Profit Quest. Currently, 9 free spots left. Follow the link in the description. That's it. Have an awesome day. Make someone else's day awesome. I love you just the appropriate amount, like take whatever is weird and then take a healthy step backwards from that line. That's exactly how much. If it's weird, you're the weirdo. Catch ya. Bye.
Hey, you're a family-oriented business grower. You should join our free group for family-oriented business growers. It's like the perfect place for someone your size and shape. Join via warplan.au, link in the description, and whilst you're there you can book a free clarity call with me to help identify the next 3 dominoes you need to knock over in your business.